I'm Carl Sachs. I'm the Director of Economic Development for Culpeper County, and you're watching Meet the Farmer TV.
Coming up next on Meet the Farmer TV, the Culpeper Farmers Market, an agricultural historian, Donnie-Johnston, and more. Meet the Farmer TV is made possible by Planet Earth Diversified, Melli Productions, and Leslie P. Jenkins Photography and Graphic Design. Culpeper's Channel 21, helping to preserve the agricultural history of Virginia, and Flavor Magazine, serving the Piedmont's local food and wine culture. I'm Michael Clark, your host for Meet the Farmer TV. Today we visit the Culpeper Farmers Market, put on by the Culpeper Renaissance, Inc. We'll check out the rich history of Culpeper with an agricultural historian, Donnie-Johnston. We'll also talk to the market manager, Tom Henneman. So Donnie, what exactly is the history of Culpeper?
Nice to meet you, Michael. Well, Culpeper was incorporated in 1759, the town. The county goes back to 1749. Interesting point, George Washington surveyed both the town and the county. So we always like to say that we gave George Washington his first job. So, you know, we're good at employment around here.
Is Culpeper's named after someone? What's that?
Well, Culpeper was named after Lord Culpeper. It was part of a land grant from the king to Lord Fairfax, and it evolved into Culpeper. And we were originally called, the town was originally called Fairfax. And of course, then it got to be too many Fairfaxes in Northern Virginia, and we changed it to Culpeper in 1870. But we were originally Fairfax, and it goes back to a land grant from the king back in the late 1600s.
So how long has Culpeper been an incorporated town?
Culpeper was incorporated in 1759. It was the county seat of the Culpeper, of course, and it was just known as Culpeper Courthouse. And then all of a sudden they decided, well, we need a town here. So they went to the General Assembly of the House of Burgesses at that time and got incorporation papers, and here we are.
So what is the relationship of Culpeper and agriculture? Is it mainly corn and soybeans, or are lots of small market gardens? Tell me more about agriculture here in Culpeper.
Well, Culpeper has an evolving agricultural system. When I was growing up, there were tons of dairy farms around here. Now, one of my buddies who runs a dairy farm just went out of business, and I think there are less than 10 in the county now. We have a lot of cow-calf operations. Corn and soybeans is big and getting bigger. The cattle operations are dwindling. As we said, the dairy operations are about gone. And we've changed a lot. We went through a period there where we were into vineyards and growing a lot of grapes, and that has kind of gone. So we're still changing. We're like the town. We're still changing in our agricultural outlook, but there are a lot of farmers markets popping up. There are 3 in the county now, and smaller plots are being grown, and it's changing. Horse farming is becoming a big part of Culpeper. A lot of people are moving in from Northern Virginia, or have moved in, and they have 5, 6, 7, 8 acres, and they have a horse or 2 horses, and their children ride, and that's becoming a big part of our agricultural system. Now, personally, I grow tomatoes. I have a tomato farm, and it's a small farm compared to those in Hanover and other places. But it's something I've found that I can do in a small way and still make a pretty decent profit.
Culpeper has a long history of agriculture from the early settlers. What sort of things went on here? Was it tobacco trade or horse trading or large grains? What sort of things has Culpeper been famous for?
Horses have always been a part of Culpeper. We used to have races here, the Culpeper Horse Show every year at the old fairgrounds. That was a big part of Culpeper agriculture. There were a number of farmers around here that grew racehorses and raised racehorses. And of course, draft horses have always been a big part of agriculture until tractors came along. And as I said, my grandfather raised horses, and he farmed with horses. I walked behind a plow many times, did it on my own. So horses are a big part of this community. Well, the first thing Culpeper was famous for, like most communities in Virginia, was tobacco. And as a matter of fact, Daniel Boone rolled tobacco from Culpeper to Fredericksburg back in the 1700s before he went farther west into Kentucky. So tobacco was a big part, but tobacco, of course, eats up the soil. I mean, it absolutely drains the soil of all its nutrients. So there were not many years before farmers were turning to grain and corn especially. And you know, most people back then were subsistence farmers. They were not big farmers. They farmed enough to make a living, to have enough to eat in the winter and to feed their stock. It was just get me on to the next season. So farming has always been a big part of the community, and it's evolved over the years.
Well, Donnie, that was a great history of Culpeper. Is there anything else you want to share with us?
There are a lot of farmers now who are renting land and getting it for land use, because a lot of people with 20 acres of land can't farm it. They can't afford the tractors, but they want to keep their land in land use to keep other houses from going in there, and also for a tax deduction. And you can get a lot of land that way. The only bad problem with that, and I've done that, is that you get small parcels, and sometimes you'll work on the land and get it all in good order, and then the owner will say, well, I've decided I want to do something else with it. So it's a risk for the farmer, but it's a good opportunity on the other hand too. Land use in Culpeper is a 5-year deal. You renew it every 5 years, and as long as you're working the land and making at least $1,000 an acre, $1,000 on that parcel, you can keep it in land use and get reduced taxes. But reduced taxes also means reduced houses, and it also means reduced money that you've got to spend on school children. So keeping the land in land use is productive to everybody.
Well, Donnie, it's been great talking to you and learning about the rich agricultural history of Culpeper here in the Commonwealth of Virginia. We encourage everybody to come just as a tourist, even if you don't come to the farmers market. So Tom, how long have you been market manager here in Culpeper?
Hi Michael, I'd like to welcome you to Culpeper Farmers Market. This is my second season. I started to manage the farmers market last year. This is only my second season. I've tried to grow the market and expand it by, one, bringing in some vendors that do crafts, quality crafts. I didn't want it to turn into a craft market or to a flea market. It's still a farmer's market, but now we have a nice variety, and I brought in entertainment, musicians. A couple of weeks ago we had a girl doing face painting, and so I've done a couple of things to try to make it grow, and it has grown. It's doing well. So it's my second year.
What sort of broad range of products do you have here at the Culpeper Farmers Market?
Eggs, grass-fed beef, lamb, pork. So now I'm in meat products, eggs, all the produces. We have two big vendors. The gentlemen who own them are Latinos, and they have just about any kind of pepper you want. They have peppers and melons and corn and tomatoes, and you name the produce, we have it.
So Tom, what's the schedule of the market? Is it once a week, and how long through the year does it run?
The market opens the last Saturday in April and closes the last Saturday of October. The closing is kind of a funny thing, because as it gets colder, most of the people growing stuff don't have any produce, and it kind of dies a slow death. But the last Saturday in October, we were open the last Saturday in October last year, and after that all the vendors got together and we went for a big lunch and had a good time. It's open Saturday morning from 7:30 in the morning to 12 noon. Setup begins at 6:30. The vendors have to be up and ready by 7:30.
What sort of attendance do you expect? I know we see lots of people and vendors out here. Tell me what sort of a regular market day is.
I suspect the volume of people that come through that market every Saturday might be in the hundreds. I never counted, maybe 200-300 people come through there. It's actually become a fun place to come in the morning and meet and greet and see old friends you haven't seen for a while. I see a lot of visiting going on, and we really like to have people bring their dogs. There's one group, there's a guy who trains a dog, and he brings all the people that he's helping train dogs so they can walk their dogs around and get used to people, and so.
Now, when it gets cold and sort of snowy and blustery here in Culpeper, does the market continue as a holiday market?
The market closes the last Saturday in October. There's no snow yet. It does get chilly. We've been talking about opening a year-round market, but we haven't yet been able to make that happen. The building and the location and the time, all those things haven't come together yet. So that may happen in the future, but right now, we don't know.
Well, Tom, take us and introduce us to some of the vendors here.
Okay, sure, Michael, follow me. We'll go up to the market and look around. Hey, Mike. Barry, how are you? So good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too.
This is interesting.
Yeah.
This is Barry Bader. He grows the nicest, biggest heirloom vegetables. Unfortunately, he's not set up today because of the weather and the crops are bad, but ask Barry about what he does and what he grows.
Sure.
It's very good, very interesting.
Well, I started a fresh produce company about 3 years ago. We moved from Northern Virginia to Culpeper, and the name of the company is Antecedent. It's kind of a play on words using old seeds, and basically we grow heirloom produce. And heirlooms are basically usually older variety seeds, but the real distinguishing part is that they're open pollinated, and you can take the seed from your tomato or pepper and from year to year get the same plant, versus a hybrid, you'll never get the same plant true to its parents. Well, usually they're better tasting. They're basically passed down from generation to generation. They're not bred to transport, so they have thinner skins, and therefore they're not good trucking around the country. But like I mentioned, you can save the seeds from year to year. You can actually get them to acclimate to your particular environment, because you basically pick the biggest tomato each year and save seeds from that, and each year it selects to your piece of land. So it's kind of a unique concept. Well, we actually looked, we wanted to live out in the country, and we looked southern Maryland, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Fauquier County, and read an ad in the paper one Sunday about some land for sale and drove down and bought it on the spot. So. And the community is just great. I mean, today's a perfect example. They're having their 250th anniversary. There's a parade and a costume ball this evening. My wife and I are going as French nobility. So stick around and watch the parade. I like to do things where I can get exercise and not have to actually be thinking that I'm doing it. So it was a nice combination. And I think this market, as you'll find out as you interview people, it's a very vibrant market. People are very friendly, and it's almost like a community meeting place on Saturdays, because they may come down and buy from you, but also it's just kind of like a coffee clutch almost. People just come and meet, and it's a great environment. I've sold to a couple of the restaurants. I think you interviewed Frank Margolis here earlier that runs Fotis. I've sold to him, and they've been very open. And it's just nice to talk to your customers. You form these relationships, and they come back year after year. Really, the Culpeper community has been very supportive of me and of any vendor really here in the market, and the new ones reap the benefits of that.
That's terrific, Tom. Show us somebody else.
I'm Scott Barnhart. I'm a farmer in Culpeper County, and you're watching Meet the Farmer TV.
So when you come out and you buy meat from us, it's really important the first time you cook it, just don't mask it like you do your food, because you're used to the food in the grocery store has no flavor. Cook it like it is and taste it, and you can see the difference in it. So I think that's real important for everybody to do the first time. Then you can go back and add whatever you want to it. And it just makes it more special that first time. You're like, oh my God, this tastes like something.
Yeah, we just had that happen today where somebody had some ground pork of ours, which was just simply ground pork with nothing added to it. And just that alone, that baseline meat, was just so much more flavorful than something you'd get from the store that had even more injected into it. So, I mean, he brings up a good point.
And Tom, how about jams and jellies and baked goods?
Hi, Michael. This is My Time Products. I feature pink Himalayan salt. It's the healthiest salt available today on the market. It has 84 minerals in it, trace elements. It's excellent for the body, works with the body instead of against it. Not only is it healthy for you, but it really brings out the flavor of food because it's a true salt. All right, I also have gourmet dips that I put together with organic herbs. I have a cayenne red pepper ooh la la, a dillweed delight. I have a garlic herb teaser. They're wonderful. They come in packets. They're great for the holidays. I also have baked goods. We have loaf breads. I have a zucchini walnut bread, a carrot pecan bread. We have chocolate chip and banana breads here. We do fried pies. We have peach apple. This is my sister Gail. She helps me with a lot of the products. She's also my partner. She does a lot of the creative with the jewelry. She does do the baking. She's wonderful with handing out samples.
And this is a wonderful sample that we did today that we sold a lot of. And this actually is very healthy. We have actually done Deborah's dillweed gourmet dip. And all you have to do is it's put together, and it just requires the directions on the back, which is an 8-ounce sour cream, 1 teaspoon of mayonnaise, chill it for a couple of hours. It's excellent. We put this on a whole wheat bread by one of the vendors, and we actually use a tomato and cucumber, and it's very healthy for you. So come on down to Culpeper, Virginia. It's one of the greatest markets around.
Tom, that was a wonderful tour of the Culpeper Farmers Market. Now, is there anything else you want to share with us?
I have been growing and selling hydroponic lettuce. I support a child in Haiti with the money I earn, but I just shut it down for a while. I kind of got tired of it, so maybe next season I'll have my hydroponic lettuce, but it sells like hotcakes. People like it.
Tom, is there anyone here from Culpeper Renaissance Inc.? Somebody to tell us about the organization?
Sure, it's a Culpeper Renaissance that oversees the market. Now, luckily enough today, we have the chairman of the board of directors of Renaissance, Mr. Michael Lysick. Come over here, Michael, and
how you doing, Tom?
Tell them all about the Renaissance, what a good job it does, and what a good job you do.
Okay. Culpeper Renaissance is part of the Virginia Main Street program, which was initiated by the National Trust for Historic Preservation. Its purpose is to revitalize small downtowns, the historic downtowns throughout the country. In the 70s, there was a flight of business from downtown centers to the outskirts. And this program was initiated to bring business back downtown.
How did they sponsor the market, and how did they get started?
I've been in Culpeper for 21 years. It was underway when I moved here. Some local people with an interest in the history and vitality of the downtown were aware of the Virginia Main Street program that started here in 1985. So a couple of years after that, the program was underway. And it started, this was a different town at the time. There were a lot of boarded up buildings, a lot of empty streets, and they did things like put flour barrels out to sort of make it look better. They built up relationships with the banking community, with the town fathers. It is a public-private partnership, and without the town's unwavering participation in this program, you would not have what you see today. The market was going every bit of 20 years. Initially, it was under the auspices of the parking authority. They needed permission to use the parking lot, and it just stayed as part of the parking authority's program. 4 years ago, Culpeper asked us, the Renaissance, to take it over. And when we took it over, it had 9 vendors, 9 stable, solid, long-term vendors. You've talked to Tom, I forget how many we have now, but it's in the mid-30s. And we applied the concepts of the Main Street program to this little parking lot here. Design, promotion, economic restructuring, and organization. And what you see is a result of that program. The market is expanding now. It's bursting at the seams. So we're going to have to look at how we integrate it into a different location, either down here by the depot or some more space available to the north end. But we want to keep it here where it has an impact on the rest of the town. This is like a mini event all summer long, every weekend. One of the emerging trends now, as you know, is this eating local, buying local. I was at a seminar, actually a workshop for the Main Street program earlier this week. And one of the terms that I heard over and over again was the word locavore, people who look for local goods to buy and consume. And that is only going to get stronger as time goes on. So I think you're going to see a lot more interest in local produce, and I think you'll see a lot more vendors down here serving that need.
Is there anybody else you want to introduce us to?
Oh, absolutely. We have a gentleman here, his name is Frank-Melli, and he owns a restaurant called Fotis. It's just an outstanding restaurant. In fact, Frank used to buy some of my hydroponic lettuce and use it in his restaurant, but he has a great place. Frank, come on in and talk to these gentlemen.
Thank you very much. Frank. Good to see you again. Hi, like you said, my name is Frank-Melli. I have Fotis Restaurant right here on East Davis Street. We've been there for about 4.5 years. My background is I'm from Minot, North Dakota, a small little sleepy town. The Greeks decided to invade back in the late 20s during the Homestead Act, and he found a wonderful German woman to marry, and we have a German side, they're all farmers, and the Greek side were all restaurateurs, and so we actually took good care of each other. So growing up, you know, the summers were always at the farm and the winters were always in the restaurant. And so we learned to appreciate everything that came from the land and to take care of it, and how important the local farmers are to be a building block to the communities. Every community was built on the local farmers and what they were able to supply, and you know, the demand for fresh, beautiful produce. So when I opened up the restaurant, I knew it was going to be a major component of the restaurant to have the opportunity to work with the local farmers. They grow some of the best produce in the region. The land is fantastic, the availability, the variety of what we can grow here. I probably source out at least 90% of my menu to the local farmers within a 5-mile radius of the town. We have majority of them just show up with baskets of goods: okra, tomatoes, peppers, eggplant, bok choy, you name it. Baby corn is grown for us. And then, you know, on top of that, we have, you know, about 5 or 6 different farmers. We get pork, chicken, lamb, anything you can possibly get. And I was just talking with Pleasant View Farm about my turkeys coming up for Thanksgiving, and we change our menu based on the seasonality of what's happening in the town, and also what surprises us at the back door. You know, from even brook trout raised, you know, and brought to the back door, still swimming in buckets of water, you know, 5-gallon pails. It was just, it's the coolest thing every single morning, just to kind of wake up and kind of see what's going to walk in the back door. We have certain farmers, Sleeping Willow Farm out in Summerduck. They do log-grown shiitakes for us. I mean, you should see these shiitakes. We actually did a shiitake, we call it a vegetarian option. It was a grilled shiitake steak. These shiitakes on the average are about the width of your finger wide. They have about almost the size of a portobello, and every single one is just, they hand pick and snip, box them and bring them to you. The greatest thing about the farmers is they want to grow for you. They don't want to just plant their beans and this and that. They actually want a challenge. And so when they approach you, it's something I take very serious, because this is something that my guests are going to enjoy, and I want it to be the best. I want it to be the consistency that I need, and I always buy from them. I always make sure I'm there for them, and even when it's a little slower, sometimes I take a little bit more than I should, and we find creative ways to pickle it and preserve it and things like that, because I want them to make sure that I have a sustainable influx of fresh, beautiful product, be it, you know, whatever it is. I go to the place, I see what they're growing, what are they using to fertilize, if they're not fertilizing, are these in compost? And then I made a deal with half the farmers that I have that have chickens, and for the pork, is that's how I get rid of all my vegetable scraps. You know, so that's, as you go back to not being an accountant, I can use everything from the rooter to the tutor, and I can use every bit of, even up to my peelings, to produce, you know, to grow the chickens that then eventually come back to the plate. Definitely try Culpeper. It's a very unique place. It has everything you want to get away from the big city, but everything that will intrigue you and bring you back again and again. It's got the quaintness of a historic town, but at the same time, what other street can you find a Belgian chocolatier? Can you find, you know, goods from all around the world? Can you find a leather shop imported from Spain? Can you find vegetables grown in the backyard and walk to the doorstep of the restaurant to put on your plate that evening? There's very few places that I can ever think of that it can be as unique as that.
Is there anybody else you want to introduce us to, or anything else you want to show us?
There's one more gentleman. as we talked about, Culpeper Renaissance tries to help the downtown grow. Well, gentleman Carl Sachs is in charge of Culpeper Economic Development Authority, and makes sure that things happen in the whole county. Carl, come on in and talk to these gentlemen.
Thank you. Good morning. The thing you should know is that for Culpeper County, agriculture is a very important industry. Both the Board of Supervisors strategic plan and the Economic Development Strategic Plan identify agriculture as something that we need to preserve and protect and try to stimulate. And we've developed a number of programs to do that. We have a purchase of development rights where the rights, the land rights for development can be purchased and provide a source of income to the landowner, in this case an agricultural landowner. And they get to live on the property, they get to farm the property, they can sell the property, it just can't be developed. And so it's a way of preserving open space and keeping the farms active. Unfortunately, there's no money right now to implement the program, but we hope as fiscal conditions get better, we'll be able to implement that program. There's also a transfer of development rights where the actual private developer can buy the development rights from a landowner and to use those to increase densities in urban settings and again preserve the open space in the rural areas. We're also very big supporters of the Buy Fresh, Buy Local campaign. We support that. We support things like the farmers market, which is a way to provide a source of local produce and products. And finally, we every year, this will be the 12th year, we operate a farm tour. And about 14 farms are open to the general public free of charge. And the farms range from traditional dairy farms to boutique farms to wineries. We have an alpaca farm, we have a llama farm, and we have a lot of neat things. And it's free. It's always the first weekend in October. It's coming up next weekend. And we draw 6,000 to 7,000 people to Culpeper to tour these farms. And it's a real interesting event. It educates people on what farming is like. A lot of people have never been on a farm. Here's their opportunity to see what it's like and to learn what farming is all about. And so we hope that by educating people, we'll encourage people to recognize the value of farming and why we need to preserve it. And that's why we do the farm tour.
Well, Tom, it's been great talking to you, and we encourage everybody to come out to the Culpeper Farmers Market. Well, there you have it, the Culpeper Farmers Market and a rich agricultural history of one of the founding counties of the Commonwealth of Virginia. So even if you don't come to the Culpeper Market, come to Culpeper just as a tourist. And we'd like to give a special thank you to Channel 21 here in Culpeper for supporting agricultural history and Meet the Farmer TV. Well, thank you for joining us for another episode of Meet the Farmer TV.
Culpeper Farmers Market is now closed.
Meet the Farmer TV is made possible by Planet Earth Diversified, Melli Productions, and Leslie P. Jenkins Photography and Graphic Design. Culpeper's Channel 21, helping to preserve the agricultural history of Virginia, and Flavor Magazine, serving the Piedmont's local food and wine culture.